See, I go and I get it done, then I go back and read it.
I don't like that. I get it done, I'm done.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Come on close.
Hey, how are you? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not.
She's looking at you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Black Theology and Bible class.
All right.
It is good to be in the house of the Lord this morning, amen. Let us all stand for the recital of the Black Christian Nationalist Creed, which is found on the back cover of your Bible class book. I believe
That human society stands under the judgment of one God, revealed to all and known by many names. His creative power is visible in the mysteries of the universe, in the revolutionary Holy Spirit, which will not long permit men to endure injustice, nor to wear the shackles of bondage, in the rage of the powerless, when they struggle to be free, and in the violence and conflict, which even now threatens up the hills of the mountains. I believe that Jesus, the Black Messiah, was a revolutionary leader sent by God to rebuild the Black nation Israel and to liberate Black people from powerlessness and from the oppression, brutality, and exploitation of the white Gentile world. I believe that the revolutionary spirit of God embodied in the Black Messiah is born anew in each generation, and that Black Christian nationalists constitutes a living remnant of God's chosen people in this day, and are charged by Him with responsibility for the liberation of Black people. I believe that both my survival and my salvation depend upon my willingness to reject individualism, and so I commit my life to the liberation struggle of Black people and accept the values, ethics, morals, and program of the Black nation defined by that struggle and taught by the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church.
Let us all extend our hands for a prayer of invocation. Almighty God, the Black nation, we thank you for this day in our lives. We thank you for allowing us to come up into this place safe. Almighty God, we'd like for you to be with us as we mourn the death of one of our great founders, Carmen Nunny, this morning. We ask that you be with us and be with her family as they prepare for her to join the ancestors. We pray these in all prayers in the name of the revolutionary Black Messiah Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Once again, I'd like to say thank you for coming and welcome. We will continue with something this morning with the second series, and it will be taught by our own brother and Dwayne. Give them a hand, please.
How's everybody?
All right.
Wonderful.
Everybody enjoy that extra hour?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got it at the same time.
What extra for me?
I know.
Okay. Let me start by, first of all, welcoming my son. The first Bible class I taught about him being brought to it.
He can't go his home.
But I want to introduce the class to my little brother over there. That's Martin's grandson. And I was doing something one day, he walked to me and said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm your brother." "You are?" And then when we had the fellowship, his mom came out. He walked to me and said, "Come on, go with me." And I went over there. He said, Mama, guess who this is?" She said, "Who?" "That's my brother." She gave me that look like, "What?" It's a man thing. My brother. That's my little brother, ain't that right, brother? Okay. We're looking at the second book of Daniel. We finished the first book last week. Samuel.
All right.
I told you. Now I didn't do that for me. Second book of Samuel. Now we talked about the first book, which mostly dealt with the rulership of Saul. But the second book of Samuel records the highlights of David's reign, first over the territory of Judah, and finally over the entire nation of Israel. It traces the ascension of David to the throne, his sins of adultery and murder, and the shattering consequences of those sins upon his family and the black nation Israel. And the central theme of 2 Samuel is that the black nation Israel came closest to being a united people of God, the United Kingdom, under the leadership of King David, who understood the covenant as overarching and undergirding all issues, both national and spiritual. That was very important. As the second monarch, or the second king, he was able to synthesize these two areas to a limited degree by bringing some of the factions together. He attempted to lead in a way that satisfied their covenant obligation to be the people of God and thus receive the promises of God. And this is important because every time we talk about the biblical stories or use biblical examples, we have to keep in mind that all of this is in assertion to being the people of God. They're not isolated stories. They're generational stories. And a lot of times we just look at a period and say, okay, that period was that period was that. But I said last week, from Genesis to Revelation is the evolution of the black nation Israel. Even though it was a revolution in its time, it was both a revolution and an evolution. So keep that in mind.
Right.
However, as most who claim to follow the religious doctrines that outline their beliefs, the personal application of those beliefs only apply to others and not to self. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Interpretation of the personal responsibility to the covenant led to many setbacks for the black nation Israel realization of freedom and self-determination that ought to be important to us today. David's life demonstrates there is an ongoing human inner conflict between individualism, which is selfish passion, and communalism, where the primary concern is for the welfare of the whole, the people of God.
right.
Now, we can't really deal with David without at least looking at some of the issues that Saul incurred. The first one is Saul's personal weaknesses as the first king of the black nation Israel led to confusion and dysfunction as it related to the covenant. Commitment to the covenant was the responsibility of each individual. The survival of Israel was dependent on the actions of each member. However, it was the actions of the king that allowed others to justify their behavior. Y'all know what that means, right? Blaming somebody else for what you do. Y'all know how we do that. Say, I don't like so-and-so, so I ain't going. Or I don't like so-and-so, so I ain't getting. You supposed to maintain your own covenant responsibility as an individual, right? Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. A lot of people ask me, well, when the change took place, why you didn't go to Detroit? I don't like Detroit, it's cold. Well, then they went somewhere going, I said, that's good. They from Detroit, they know how to deal with it. I can't go. Well, I thought you did. I said, no, I didn't know nobody when I joined. I was looking for God. And if God wanted me to stay right here, I'm like the mother preacher back. He gave me wings to fly to Detroit if I was supposed to be up there. I ain't growing no wings, so I ain't going.
All right.
But you can't blame somebody else for what you don't do. Saul failed to take the spiritual life of the black nation Israel seriously. Little focus on the covenant and the will of God, not taking advantage of the opportunities of meditation and prayer, all of which are forms of seeking counsel with God, led to idle personal focus and desires. The ultimate act of Saul's insecurity toward David was the murder of the priest of Nob and all who dwell there. Somebody read 1 Samuel, 22nd chapter, 17th and 19th verse.
2 Samuel. He sent from above. He took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay.
Was that 1 Samuel?
Oh, no, I'll say that.
First Samuel.
1 Samuel.
It said the king said to the scouts who were standing around him, forward, and put the priests of Yahweh to death. For they too are on David's side. They knew that he was escaping, yet did not warn me of it. The king's professional soldiers, however, would not lift a hand to strike the priests of Yahweh. The king then said to Dog, forward, you fall on the priest. Dog the Edomite stepped forward and fell on the priest. Himself that day killing 85 men who wore the linen ephod. No, the town of the priest, Saul put the sword, men and women, children and infants, cattle, donkeys, and sheep. There, David.
Saul lost his mind. That boy was so mad at David, he started killing everybody. That's some serious decision when you talk about a group of people who's supposed to be doing whatever was necessary to be the people of God. And he is mad at David. And then found out that this priest took David and gave him some food, gave him some stuff, and then sent him on his way. Somebody told him, he went and talked to the priest and said, okay, you on his side? I got something for you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your whole family. I'm going to kill all the people in the town. I'm going to kill all the children, the dogs, the sheep. Anything that moves is dead today. He lost his mind. That was the ultimate thing that really messed up the nation, because now you got people that saying, okay, we don't know what to do. Because that was just in one area. Now everybody else saying, what is he going to do to us? So even if they were loyal to the covenant, loyal to God, they were afraid of Saul. And whatever it was they were supposed to do to maintain their righteousness of being the people of God, whether it was paying taxes, showing up for whatever, they were done. But they had a covenant responsibility, though, in spite of everything that was going on. Y'all got to hold it together. They didn't get that. This consequently led to the division of the black nation of Israel and 2 kings after Saul's death. They didn't want to trust the whole idea of one king. So Judah and Israel split. David was anointed king of Judah, and Ishbaal, who was Saul's son, was anointed king of Israel.
Well,
now here comes the shift. David becomes the undisputed king of the United Kingdom through the shrewd and intensely violent power struggle among the people of God. In other words, what Saul did started an internal war. The first is the war of Gibeon, brought on as a result of egocentric power struggle. Somebody read 2 Samuel. The second Samuel.
second Samuel.
Second chapter.
Not first
14
Samuel.
through 16.
Then Abner said to Joab, let the young soldiers come forward and hold a contest before us. Let them come forward, Joab replied. So they came forward and were numbered off, 12 from Benjamin for Ishbaal, son of Saul, and 12 of David's followers. Each caught his adversary by the head and drove his sword into his side, so they all fell together. Hence the place was called the Field of Sides. It was at Gibeon.
Now, that's crazy, man. Here they are. Everybody done chose sides. Then somebody come up with a stupid idea. Let's pick 12 from each side. Let them go out there and see who's going to win. They went out there and all 12 of them grabbed each other by the head and simultaneously stabbed each other in the side. So all 24 of them died. Now what had been resolved? Nothing, except everybody on each side got more pissed off. It's like gang violence. You trying to protect your particular turf, somebody else protecting theirs, somebody wander off into their turf, you kill them. Now all of a sudden it's a game of retaliation. Well, we're going to kill one of you because you killed one of us. When does it end? It's not going to end. It's never going to end. Because somebody going to end up saying, okay, I'm going to get revenge. Then they're going to die. Somebody else going to come along, I'm going to get revenge. Even if somebody says, okay, let there be peace. There's another generation coming up that says, I remember what you did, I'm going to get him, and it's going to start all over again. David had to deal with all this fratricide in terms of the nation. This led to a full-blown war between Judah and Israel. Brother against brother, tribe against tribe, and families against families. Yeah. Somebody read 2 Samuel, 2nd chapter, verse 26.
Then Abner called Joab and said, shall the sword devour forever? Don't you know that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long will it then before you ask the people to return from following their brothers?
Now Abner trying to come to some sense, right? He said, we keep this up, all of us gonna be dead. This can't go nowhere. It's like two sides arguing against each other. And it may not be a physical argument, but even if it's an argument about ideology, philosophy, theology, if there's division, there's destruction. If there's destruction, there's failure. Why? Because somebody ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
Because they're too busy at each other. So at some point, somebody got to say, wait a minute now. We're missing out on a whole lot. First of all, we're losing half our resources because y'all putting it over there instead of over here. Second, we're missing out half of our labor because y'all taking it over there instead of putting it over here. So we ain't getting nothing out of this. So everything started falling apart. Then the next thing somebody says is, why is it falling apart? Well, we mishandling the money. What money? Half of you took your money over there, the other half kept the money over here, and then we try to live on both halves with half. It was a problem. How do you deal with that, though? David had to deal with all these issues. Defections and assassinations ruined the house of Saul. Abner was murdered, and Ishbaal's head was cut off and delivered to David.
My Lord.
Now, this is in retaliation to Abner killing Ishbaal's brother. Now, Abner already called a truce. David done agreed.
All right.
They done anointed him the king of Judah. But this one little sect of people couldn't let it go. They couldn't let it go. David refused to encourage the destructive behavior that was taking place. Somebody reads 2 Samuel, 4th chapter, 9th through 12th verse. Now, I know it's kind of long, but I want you to get a picture of the story. 2 Samuel, 4th chapter, 9th through 12th verse.
But David answered Rechab and his brother Baanah, the sons of Rimmon, by saying, as Yahweh lives, who has rescued me from every danger, when someone told me, Saul is dead, supposedly himself to be bringing me good news, I seized and put him to death at Ziklag, and that was how I rewarded him for his news. How much more when bandits have killed an upright man in his house and on his bed? Am I not to demand an account of his blood from you and rid the earth of you? David then gave an order to the men who put them to death. Cut off their hands and feet and hung them up beside the pool of Hebron. Ishbaal's head they took and buried in Abner's grave at Hebron.
Now, David, even though they came to him, David knew Abner was supposed to be against him from the get-go. But because of all the destruction, Abner said, no, we can't keep this going on. So he changed. But these two guys snuck into Abner's house while he was sleeping. Ishbaal's house while he was sleeping, cut his head off and took it to David. And that was supposed to be some good news. So look, David, look what we did. We killed your adversary. We killed your enemy. And David looking at them like, y'all lost y'all mind. Then he said, okay, if that's what you're going to do. Because, you know, David wouldn't even take Saul's life, right? That's right. Because Saul was an anointed of God. He said, if God's going to bring him down, let God bring him down. Because if I kill him, I'm going against the covenant. Right. I'm not trying to uphold my end. So if I pitch a tent against him, then I might as well be bringing destruction to the nation itself. If we can't compromise and get along, we ain't no people of God.
Well,
So he decided not to do it. He just stuck the sword by Saul's head, then went up on the mountain and yelled and told the man, "So check the tent out, man. I've been in there. Could have killed that sucker. Y'all better get right. I could have killed him. But I didn't because he's anointed of God."
That's right. That's right.
Then here these guys come with Ishmael's head. "Look, David, look what we did." David was so pissed off, he said, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to explain it to you first. I'm not going to encourage this foolishness. What I'm going to do is set an example. Anybody else who want to act a fool in relationship to the covenant, I'm going to deal with them." So he cut their heads off, cut their feet off, and hung them up on a pole. This is a message. If we don't get right, everybody going to die. He had to deal with all this. David now anointed king over all Israel. Why? Because people realize that this man is serious about us being together, united. He ain't going to put up with all this crazy stuff. Now, David's reign looked good because he understood the covenant. And at some point he understood his relationship with the covenant in terms of how he led the people. David's reign as king led to many triumphs. Said he established Jerusalem as the capital of the nation, both spiritual and national. That's when they started doing the what do you call them? Traveling to Jerusalem to worship all the time. So this is our center. This is where we go. All the tribes. You go to the center, you worship. We're not doing that individualistic thing. Not even on a tribal basis. We got to have a nation.
there you go.
So he dealt with that. Then the Ark of the Covenant was given renewed respect. Why? Because they kind of lost faith in the Ark of the Covenant, right? Because of them two sons of Eli who took him out on the battlefield, and the Ark didn't do nothing. Well, God didn't do nothing. The Ark was just simple. So they lost faith in the Ark, but he renewed that faith like God is still with us. David set up a new administration with regard to recognizing the sanctity of the priesthood. David tried to restore the faith in the priests. They're supposed to be about the business of trying to do something for the nation. They're supposed to have strong faith. A lot of times when we say membership, we got membership by individual faith only. It does not apply to everybody. It don't apply to ministers. I got some ministers in here. I'm the only one talking to myself. No, I got that. It don't apply to ministers. Let me tell you why it don't apply to ministers.
Go ahead, tell us.
It don't apply to ministers because we were chosen for a higher sense of responsibility.
Amen.
We have a higher calling. We're not just members, but we have a responsibility not only to represent what we believe in, but to act it out in an exemplary fashion. So it ain't membership of our own.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying we better than anybody else. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is there's a responsibility that we have to hold dear to in terms of carrying out our responsibility to the covenant and bringing the world into conformity with the will of God. And if that don't look like we're supposed to be what we're supposed to be, do what we're supposed to do, put in what we're supposed to put in, take out what we're supposed to take out, deal with stuff, deal with people. Don't worry about nobody liking you. You're supposed to be dealing with some stuff.
Deal with it.
If you gonna back off, then back out. I ain't in charge. I ain't gonna raise up against my brothers and sisters. But I'm gonna let you know though. Alright? But he had to restore that sanctity for the priesthood. And that don't mean there wasn't no corrupt priest after that. But I'm pretty sure they knew what the deal was. After that, David has faith in the power of God, and he experienced the Holy Spirit. Somebody read 2 Samuel 6, chapter, verse 14.
And David danced before the Lord with all his might. And David was girded with the linen ephod.
Now David out there, the king now,
Yes.
caught up,
Damn.
dancing with all his might.
Oh, yes.
They probably thought he was drinking in the middle of the day. Look at the king. Look at him. Yeah, just go. He hasn't been around drinking. Wait for me drinking 20. We ain't supposed to drink it after 6. All of your assignments. Right. All your assignments completed. Then you can take it. Come on now. But even with that whole idea of him catching the Holy Spirit, which they had not seen from another leader.
Right.
That's why it looks so weird. David was also despised for his spiritual leadership. David's response to those who hold his praise in contempt was what? Somebody read 2 Samuel 6, 20 and 23.
David went home.
Go ahead.
Okay, David went home so he could ask the Lord to bless his family. Well, but Saul's daughter, Michelle, went out and started yelling at him. You were really great today, she said. You acted like a dirty old man dancing around happy the slave girls. David told her, the Lord didn't choose your father or anyone else in your family to be the leader of his people. The Lord chose me, and I was celebrating in honor of him. I'll show you just how great I can be. I'll even be disgusting to myself. But those slave girls you talked about will still honor me. Michelle never had any children.
David said, I don't care what y'all think about me. God done done so much for me, I'm going to praise him. That sounds like Shirley Caesar, don't it? Give me my music. Because I'm going to shout right now.
Right now.
If you can't praise God for what he done for you, just because somebody said don't do it. You look stupid. What you got? What you got?
And I wanted to bring over the image of Ephron. David was naked when he was dancing, except for this breastplate on him. So probably that's why his wife, and it's just a rational thinking way of doing it. You know, if you got butt naked and you jumping around and your wife looks out of the window and she's thinking, he's just showing off, and all these other women that are part of this video are doing this. Well, I just want to get that image out there. So people will know that.
But don't y'all know that kind of thinking, that kind of rationalization, whether they're naked or not, that kind of thinking is what keeps us from expressing our praise for God. And when y'all go downstairs and you get hit by the Holy Spirit, and you get that feeling, you want to get up and shout, the first thing goes to your mind is what? What's somebody going to say about me? It ain't got nothing to do with being naked. The whole point of this whole conversation was that if God has done something for you, don't be ashamed to give him praise. And if you don't rationalize your way through that, you'll never get to the point where you have a personal experience with God. And I ain't nothing against your God. Your God just got enough nerve to say what everybody else thinks.
That's right.
That man was naked, I never would have done it. But I mean, it's this whole idea of having the experience of God was kind of strange to the nation of Israel. And David was taken it to a whole nother level, even from a leadership position. Also, David was able to conquer the promised land, the task given to Moses and inherited by Joshua and Caleb, which indicated that the covenant promise was a generational responsibility. A generational responsibility. A lot of times we say that here in the nation, and we kind of take that lightly. We say we're building something for the next generation. That don't mean the generation gonna come straight out this house right here. In other words, that don't mean this generation gonna come from our kids.
Well,
We would like.
We would like for that to happen.
hope.
Eli would like that to happen. Until he found out how corrupt his son was, fell over and broke his neck. Samuel would have liked for that to happen. His two kids were corrupt.
Well,
but the idea is this is about a people. It's not about an inheritance of the people in your bloodline.
That's right.
Come on.
It's a covenant promise for a generation of people.
there you go.
So when we start talking about stuff like Beulah land and somebody saying ain't giving, You ain't doing nothing to us. You rebelling against God. Because that land's supposed to be passed on. Now, you mess around here and be one of them group that loses. Oh, it got quiet up in there. I'm just saying, somebody walk up to you and say, I ain't getting a bill land, you better say something. Now, you affecting more than just your pocket.
Well,
Not only just Buell Land, KD and Cody too, to keep the license.
Come on,
So
sister.
It goes, it's all of it.
It is. And if we're not giving to uphold what we already got, what we passing on?
nothing.
Debt.
Rhetoric? No, not even that, rhetoric. Because the debt ain't gonna be there, because white folks gonna take it.
That land.
It won't be ours no more.
Right.
But I'm just putting this out there now.
Put it out there.
But
Yes, ma'am.
to contribute to Beulah Land and everything that goes with the upkeep of the church is actually feeding into and supporting the covenant that the church was built upon.
Yes.
Because that's what the founder said.
Exactly.
So everything that's listed for us to contribute to is part of the covenant. And we're supposed to be in covenant with God. So that was our covenant with God.
Well,
Yeah, provides that.
amen.
But I mean, I'm just saying, if we think about it, I said the covenant has a personal responsibility for each individual. It's not based on the leadership. If you look at the Bible, some of the leaders in the Bible was corrupt as I don't know what.
You're absolutely right.
But the nation
Well,
had individuals in it that were strong enough to say, in spite of, I'm going to keep on. In spite of, I'm going to be in it. In spite of, I won't give up. And if we can't have enough conviction to pass that on to the person that keeps whispering in our ear,
Right.
it ain't in spite of.
well,
Because you can get turned. Somebody told me a joke one time, I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. Said this guy was finna commit suicide on the bridge. He was standing up there, he getting ready to jump. And this one guy, you know, he was quote unquote, what you call them people that talk people out of stuff?
Counsel.
A negotiator. He gonna walk up there and talk the guy down, right? He got up on the bridge, somebody said from a distance they could see him talking, blah, 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 blah. He said, why both of them grabbed hands and jumped off. Hey, what happened to the negotiator? Whatever that conversation was about, that guy convinced the negotiator to come out, hear all that stuff you talking about. There ain't no point in living that though. And he said, okay, okay. But how many people have gotten you to jump off a bridge? Whether it was giving tithes, coming to events, participating in meetings, doing whatever you got to do, simply by telling you you're supposed to be doing something other than that.
That's right.
And you just grabbed their hand and jumped up.
Yeah, right with it.
All right, Real.
David having brought his people to international recognition. A great, I keep looking at psychiatry, she got this thing over there. A great nation, the people of God, became susceptible to personal weaknesses, which led to setting a poor example for others. Now everybody knows about David's great sin, right?
Yeah, we do.
David's great sin alienated him from his brother and from God. David sins for and sleeps with Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, and she becomes pregnant. Then David tries to encourage Uriah to sleep with his wife before being sent back to the front line of the army to be killed. Now, I'm not going to go through these scriptures. Don't do it. Who said don't do it? But the idea was, even with all the good that David has done, remember at the beginning we said there's always this internal struggle against individualism and self-desire.
Yeah.
David already had a number of wives. I ain't gonna say he didn't need a number.
He did. He
That's it.
One was good enough.
It's a matter of opinion.
He was in his African culture. He
You know what I'm
was
saying?
deep into it.
We already had a number of them.
You needed that seat.
And then he had a lot of kids too. And if you read the scriptures that I have in bold, you would know that all them kids wasn't all by the same woman.
Right, they sure were.
Make it right, come on.
I didn't say everybody right or wrong.
Let's listen.
But when he got up off that couch and looked over his roof and saw Bathsheba, he was enticed. It was almost like he was struck. And he had to have her. Then he sent for her. She came.
Yep.
Now, this might be like the Garden of Eden, who sinned first? Adam or Eve. Hey, she could have went back home.
No, she could turn again.
How come she couldn't turn that again?
See?
Now, wait a minute. Don't get mad at me. I'm the teacher. How come she couldn't turn that again?
Her life could have been threatened.
Exactly. So she would have died. She would have died being
Oh,
righteous.
she said, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. She would have died being righteous. Standing up for the covenant like I ain't supposed to do this. Wasn't that one of the 10 commandments?
Yeah.
Okay, so she could have died. So
Yeah, okay, let's get
Another opinion.
go ahead.
There's another way to look at that text.
Okay.
You could also see possibly that she decided on her own that she wanted to do that. Because she could get power and she could change her own circumstances
All the above.
and find favor with the king and get status in the community.
That's
So
us
it
thinking.
is how you choose to see Bathsheba. Do you see her as strong?
Right.
Or do you see her as a victim?
Opportunity.
But the issue
Well,
is this.
strong, I don't know what her lifestyle was,
The issue
but
is
she
this.
had a, she
I don't care which one of them scenarios y'all hear. They got nothing to come.
There you go.
Now, and I'm talking about the covenant. And can we be clear on that?
Well, how you know?
So whether she didn't go home because she wanted to stay, or whether she didn't go home because she didn't want to refuse the king, she was wrong.
Well, yeah, because of the covenant.
David was wrong too.
The power decision.
Okay? So at some point, you're going to be put in a situation where you got to make a choice.
That's right.
And hopefully your choice is in relationship to the covenant.
Well.
And not to your personal desire.
Well.
There you go.
Whether they are to improve your status or fear of your status. All right?
Well.
That's your way, baby? Okay, I got you. Okay, let me try to run through this right quick. Now, David's sin is exposed by Nathan, the prophet. And y'all know that story, right?
Yeah.
Here David done took the woman, sent the man out to be killed. Now here comes Nathan. This is another example of the group experience, the group process. Nathan was also fearful for his life, right? Because you can't just go to the king and say, you said you took that man's wife, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he'd have died.
But he was anointed.
But no, Nathan was smart. Nathan went to the king and told him a story about somebody else doing something that had nothing to do with another woman. And then said he took his only sheep, only one he had.
Right.
What would you do? David said, kill him. That's some low down mess, kill him. And then what did Nathan say? You are that man.
Well.
Now, after he done exposed him, what could David do? He said, dang, that's something cold. So he had to repent. But Nathan was smart. What this says is that individualism does not only affect the person committing the wrong, the effects of individualism spread throughout the group. In this case, the family of David.
Well.
Right quick, David's children showed a similar disregard for the sanctity of their relationship and ended up destroying each other. Ammon rapes his sister Tamar.
My Lord.
Absalom then kills his brother Ammon for raping his sister. Then Absalom challenges David and pursues him because he wanted to be king. Then David mourns Absalom's death and is rebuked by Joab. Now the reason Joab rebuked David was because This man was trying to kill him. He's, I know you got love for your son, but he's finna kill you. So what you really telling everybody else that stood on the covenant, that's trying to stand behind you, that you don't care nothing about them, you want to spend all day more than this kid that was going to take your life. You need to get your mind up, go back out there and tell them you still care. You got to pull yourself together. Because if you can't pull yourself together, then you should set a bad example for everybody else, because then everything becomes a personal thing, like emotions, ties, relationships. I got to give this up because I can't get to this over here, get to this over there. But he's saying you got to get up. You got to forget that. You got to go on as king. The three key values of this whole issue. One, it can be applied to the black nation, Israel and us. We need to always be aware that we share existence in a unified energy field, and our actions influence everyone else, either towards good or evil. Amen. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever conversation you have, whatever opinion you got, you either influencing somebody toward good or evil. Right. Without strong faith in the binding, unifying power of God among a people, it's easy to be reduced to our lowest nature and act out of its destructive tendency.
Well,
that can be applied to us today, but more so it can be applied to this election that's coming up. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. But it only exemplifies how individualistic people can get when it comes to a power struggle. You got the FBI creating fake documents to get somebody not elected. You got Trump lying to get elected. Then it's just crazy. And then you got people saying, I don't know who to vote for. Well, that's crazy too. Yeah. Because you want to give it all up because you don't think it's going to do you any personal good. That's crazy. But it reduces us to our destructive tendencies. The last thing, the struggle to unify people who have been marked by slavery is very complex because it's impossible to satisfy every individual desire.
well,
Everybody ain't going to be satisfied. But a decision has to be made. The decision has to be made in relativity to the survival of the group.
well,
If we going down and somebody ain't guiding the ship in the right direction, don't jump ship.
get somebody else to drive the
Somebody
ship.
know how to drive that damn thing.
There you go.
Get somebody else to drive the ship.
And if we don't find them soon enough, stay on it long enough till it gets straight.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Keep the faith.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep the faith.
We'd like to thank Reverend Dwayne again for those powerful words. This will conclude our sermon series dealing with Samuel. But in reference to Samuel, we know that BCN is the what? Answer. All the individuals and all the things that we talked about in the Bible, BCN is still the what? Answer. With that being said, let us all stand for a prayer of benediction. All right. After the prayer of benediction, we'd like you to continue worshiping with us downstairs in our sanctuary. Let us all extend our hands for a prayer. Almighty God of the Black Nation, we thank you for the words that we have received today from our pastor. We ask that you continue to put these words in our hearts and on our minds. Even after we leave here, we ask that we continue to be a people that needs to do what it needs to do to save ourselves and others.
Well,
We ask that we be able to lift our hearts and be able to understand the world more better. We ask that you continue to love us and guide us in everything that we do. We pray these and all prayers in the name of the revolutionary Black Messiah Jesus. Amen.
amen.
Amen.